I was diagnosed in 2006, and it was actually a chance diagnosis because I was undergoing treatment for infertility. And as a part of my treatment, well, actually, investigative before we even started the treatment, my doctors were concerned and confused as to why the regular medications, were not working on me, and so they decided to do a exploratory surgery to see what's wrong. And when they did that, they saw that both my fallopian tubes were badly scarred. But the thing is, they couldn't recognize what the scarring was from. And so, but they had to remove both my fallopian tubes. And when the pathology reports came back, it said tuberculosis. Um, this was after 18 months of bouncing from doctors to doctors before I found a specialist who actually was ready to first do investigative testing rather than put me on aggressive infertility treatments. And that's why I call it a chance diagnosis, because this was not what any of my specialists were thinking. They weren't thinking tuberculosis. Pelvic TB is what I had, and that is not entirely uncommon in countries which have high TB burden, such as India, where I was born and raised. And physicians in India are more alert to TB when a woman comes in with complaining of infertility. So the detection is higher there than it is here in the US, because we've forgotten. Our doctors, our community, people have forgotten what tuberculosis is, and that's a very dangerous place to be in. The biggest solution, I would say, is awareness. We need to reintroduce medical students and even our experienced physicians and remind them of tuberculosis, because maybe, yes, in the United States we have done a great job of putting somewhat of a tight lid on TB, but it's not so around the world. And our countries, all the countries are becoming more, like a global country. We are not so much isolated from each other anymore. Our students, our college students, are going abroad much more, and doing a semester abroad in countries where there is high burden of TB. International trade has increased. Businessmen are going abroad and working there for long months, and anybody is exposed to TB, and folks don't realize that it's an airborne disease. So nobody, unless you live in a vacuum, there is no protection to TB. So I think we in the United States need to reintroduce ourselves and really be honest about the dangers of not being able to diagnose TB, not being aware of TB. It's not a very healthy way to go about, because we could find ourselves in some hot water. Like everywhere in the world and in the United States, women oftentimes put their health last. And TB is such an opportunistic disease that when you don't get proper treatment for it, not only is it threatening to you as an individual, but you also are threatening the lives of those around you. And women are the caretakers, primary caretakers of the children of the family. So not only is it harmful to their health, but also to the children and the old, family members, older family members living with them. And in some countries, infectious diseases like TB are so stigmatized because of the myths surrounding why one gets TB. Women are sometimes, they're abandoned by their families, and they have nowhere to go. And that, as you can imagine, can create so many more problems, not just health, but psychological, emotional. We all know how children growing up without a secure household or a mother to take care of the child, we can understand how we compromise the next generation. Yes, I want to make sure that I get my story across, because I can't tell you how many people I have met who have turned around when they've heard that I was affected by TB. They have responded with the fact that, oh, I thought TB was eradicated. And that's how insulated we are from what is going on outside our United States, outside our country. And my job, I feel, is to reintroduce people to TB and tell my story so that people don't think it is another problem of the others, but it is rather our problem. My family, I was one of the lucky few, especially coming from a traditional community such as South Asian community. I found that it was the support of my husband, my in-laws, and my family that really allowed me to talk about it so openly. I know the challenges women face when they are affected by infectious diseases and how they lose everything that is so close to them. They lose their family, they lose their value in the family, and they look at themselves as a burden. So I am grateful and appreciative of the support I had, and that inspired me because I felt that if I can show solidarity to with TB patients, maybe more people will be able to step up and step forward and think, well, if she can, I can too. And that is important because TB is not just physically isolating, it's emotionally isolating. And I think that is something that I hope I can change with my story. I just want somebody else there who's undergoing TB. I want them to know that I've been there and you're not alone, at least not spiritually and emotionally. I can be there for them.